On YouTube, a lot of people will do some crazy things and go all out to try and get the clicks that they're hoping for when it comes to YouTube. Whether it's a crazy sounding video, a touchy subject, adding tags or a crazy description or a crazy title, or adding a clickbait enough thumbnail. Hell, I even know about that, with a car turning into, quote, fucking meatloaf. Anyway, what if I told you one of the worst examples of engagement bait try to actually teach you things? Yep, this is PragerU, a very infamous YouTube channel known for having some very diabolical takes and some even worse takes when it comes to general ideas and concepts of regular everyday life. From trying to assert dominance into your children and treating homeless people like, well, not people. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad, actually. So I was looking through this very poor, sad excuse of a YouTube channel, and I found this video, Don't Trust Your Conscience. Now, it doesn't sound that bad, and it doesn't fall under any engagement bait, and that's actually why I didn't pick it, even though the take was terrible, as usual. It wasn't that bad in terms of the clickability. But I did stumble across one with an absolutely diabolical title, and I knew we needed to talk about it. This video is called Make Men Masculine Again. Yeah. A very engagement bait title for this day and age, for sure. But nonetheless, we're going to see what they have to say, and we're going to be analyzing this argument by three things. 1, the argument itself. 2, how they actually define masculinity. And 3, if their sources are really credible or not. So, without a doubt, prepare for the worst. Let's take a look at this thing.
Rape, murder, war. They all have one thing in common. Men.
Oh, I need a drink, dude. Really? The first sentence? Strap in. It's gonna be brutal. It's going to be terrible. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Now, I know that start was bizarre, but what if I told you it got better? I'd be lying to you. I would just be lying to you. I'm so sorry. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to keep it a buck. This is going to be a bad watch. Yeah, let's dive into this piece of content.
Rape, murder, war. They all have one thing in common. Men.
This is Ali Stuckey, the voice of what might be the craziest opening to a YouTube video I have ever heard in my life. Now, let's get past this completely crazy opening line for a sec. Let's try to actually get into the meat and potatoes of this argument here.
And the solution is obvious. Make men less toxic. Make men less masculine. Make men more like women. But I'm here to tell you that that way of thinking is not only wrong, it's dangerous.
Yeah, I'll agree that, men need to be less toxic sometimes. That's definitely for sure. Toxic masculinity, though, it doesn't mean that masculinity is toxic. What? Toxic masculinity doesn't mean that actual masculinity is toxic, though. It actually refers to norms that discourage emotions, promote dominance, and punish vulnerability. But now they're arguing, what if men were like women, showed more emotion, and if it would make toxic masculinity go down. But it would actually make it go up. So here's what's wrong with their argument. Let's just say for a moment, right, that this is true. Let's just say for a moment, this argument is true. If men showed more emotion, their toxic masculinity would get worse, right? There's a lot wrong with that, because if that's the case, how come women who already show more emotion than men aren't the more violent demographic compared to men? If emotional expression caused violence, it should pattern across all genders and not just men. Men showing their emotions is not the problem. It is not. It's the lack of control on their emotions. That's literally why they invented anger management, by the way. It would actually be like repressing or suppressing these emotions that would actually hurt you the most. As to put it simply, letting out pressure from a valve doesn't explode it. Blocking it does. This argument is basically saying that the more open and expressive you are, the more you are likely to be violent. And once again, that's just not the case. People are very expressive about the things that they care about very often. Hell, you see protests everywhere, and sure, they go violent sometimes, but most of the times, protests are peaceful. However, there's still a lot in this video, so yeah, let's roll the tape.
Bad men don't become good when they stop being men. They become good when they stop being bad.
Yeah, Isaac Newton, what's up? Yeah, that Nobel that you're hoping for, gone. Gone. This lady just said they become good when they stop being bad. Bro, you better invent something or some shit. You've got to run for your money going here. Yeah. Yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care. I mean, come on, right? Like, you get my point. Like, that is a terrible ground to stand on. That is a legitimate argument she just made in an informational video in a profession that she's supposed to know. That's terrible. Even the comments on this video are, as the UK says, taking the piss out of what she just said. Like, look at some of these. Like, wow. I genuinely don't know how that made it into the final cut, but we'll just move on from that, I guess. That was wow.
Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition can't be eliminated from the male psyche. They can only be harnessed. And when they are harnessed, they are tools for good, not for harm. The same masculine traits that bring destruction also defeat tyranny. The traits that foster greed also build economies. The traits that drive men to take foolish risks also drive men to take heroic risks. The answer to toxic masculinity isn't less masculinity. It's better masculinity.
I can agree with this. These traits are definitely very useful, right, for like self-defense and all that stuff. So I can't believe I'm about to say this. I agree with PragerU. I know. No need to get violent. Do not meet me in the parking lot. I promise this is the only time I will be agreeing with them. I know. Only time, I promise.
It's a young man opening the door for a girl on their first date. It's a father working long hours to provide for his family. It's a soldier risking his life to defend his country.
Okay, here we go. This is not masculinity. This is manners. Holding the door open for a woman is not masculine. It is being a kind person. We have misused the word masculinity. If we were going to use this specific example, the title of the video would now be called Make Men Kind Again. What? Doing any of these examples is just being a kind person in society. Literally anyone can do this stuff, right? Whether you're the most masculine men ever or you're the most feminine women ever, you can do all of these things, right? A woman can work overtime to provide for her family. A woman can hold a door for a man. You know, like, that's not masculinity. We have completely misdefined what masculinity is for the sake of an argument about something that's really not even that important. Like, bro. Oh, I'm crying.
The consequences can be seen everywhere. 1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grow up without a dad are generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father. They are at far greater risk for incarceration, teen pregnancy, and poverty. 71% of high school dropouts are fatherless.
I don't want to be that guy, right? I don't want to be that guy. Not having a father does not mean this is going to be the outcome, right? A lot of single-parent children live a perfectly normal, perfectly happy life. Just because there's correlation doesn't mean it's an inevitability, you know? Not the case. It's just not the case. It's just not the case.
Healthy families and strong communities depend on the leadership and bravery of good men.
I feel like we've pushed women out of the equation of a gender for the sake of this argument. Because if you look at like any big company, at some point in the ranks, there will be a leadership role, even if it's at the bottom, that will be run by a woman. Women can be leaders too. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is bad. Like, what are we doing?
In the school classroom, boys are invariably the problem. On the playground, aggressive games like dodgeball have long been banished. We tell young men that their intrinsic desire to compete is wrong. Everybody gets a trophy. Don't run up the score. This anti-male tilt continues on through higher education and into the workplace.
Yeah, men compete a lot, right? Gym class, you swear there was 10 grand on the line, right? I've seen friendships end over a game of Foursquare outside at recess in elementary school. So, I mean, I guess I get your point there.
Here's a secret that every woman knows. Women want real men. Men they can count on and, yes, look up to. No amount of feminist theory will change that.
Breaking news. Women want men that are kind people and not an asshole. Gotta call somebody real quick. Yo, Isaac, yeah, just stop. Whatever you're inventing, put it away, dude. She won. It's over. I know. I know, dude. Not my problem, okay? Just gotta tell you. Don't want you to waste your time. Okay, bye. Come on.
I don't know any woman at any age who is attracted to a passive man who looks to her to be his provider, protector, and leader. Every woman I know wants a strong, responsible man. That's not a consequence of a social construct or cultural pressure. It's innate.
Okay, so apparently we're living in 1912. We've gone back 114 years to make this case possible. A lot of women are in relationships where they're the caregivers. What? A relationship shouldn't even be based on this shit. It should be based on like their morals and like their beliefs and, you know, like how they treat others and all that other stuff. It should all like factor into a personality, right? So like, I don't even know who you know, lady, but please don't introduce me to your friends. Please don't introduce me to who you know, because they are just as bad. Just as bad. Just as bad.
Rape, murder, war. They all have two things in common. Bad men who do the raping, murdering, and warring, and weak men who won't stop them.
Oh no, she doubled down. Oh god, she doubled down. She doubled down. She said it again. I can't believe this shit. Not to be that guy. I can't believe I'm saying this. Women can do that too. Just look it up. It's less common. I'll give them that. It's less common, but we are not in an exclusive club here. Once again, we've completely erased women off the map for the sake of an argument being true. This is just not the case. It's not the case.
We need good men who will. It's not masculinity that's toxic. It's the lack of it. I'm Ali Stuckey for Prager University.
Alright, we made it. That was the video. Thank God. Well, that's my response to whatever the hell that was that we just watched. But of course, I had to dive deeper to prove that this was just even worse than it was on the surface of what we've already seen. I did the sad, unfortunate duty of heading over to the PragerU site and searching up this video where we find the sources for the video's facts. This site stands out a lot. It's cited quite a bit, actually, in multiple different sections of the list. So surely this is going to be a strong piece of evidence. Yeah, it's like 6 sentences. It's also not a research-based read. It's an opinion writing. Look who it's written by, you might ask. Look who it's written by. Look who it's written by. Who is that name, you ask? It's Ali, the woman talking in the PragerU video. She used her opinion paper of 6 sentences with a video I could not find for the life of me attached that was deleted, which is probably the same as this thing, probably the exact same, as like the main source of her argument, the main citation. And get this, she does a podcast for the company she posted this article under. This is an echo chamber, where somebody writes a piece of work to cite something that they also contributed in that's saying the exact same thing. It is an echo chamber. What are we doing? The same person citing each other on the same argument, claiming that it's new evidence, is an echo chamber. They just utilized an echo chamber to claim an opinion argument. And they have a kids channel. They have a kids channel. They have a kids channel. Now there is, unfortunately, another source that we should talk about, which is also cited numerous times. Not as bad because it's not written by a PragerU character, but it still definitely falls under an echo chamber. This is fatherhood.org, which is an advocacy organization basically, saying why fathers are good to have and why they should stay with their families, which is common fucking sense. And honestly, if I were to base this off percentage, this website is 60% of the PragerU video. The biggest highlight is where they say that, fatherless children turn into criminals and kill people and all that stuff. Maybe not in that exact word, but you get the gist. PragerU uses this site as if it's its own independent evidence when it really is just an opinion-based, infographic-looking website that leads to the same conclusion. In this case, it's more like circular sourcing things that are opinion-based on something that you are currently making a thesis of. The claim is supported by sources that basically already agree with this, so once again, not a very viable source. Last one, thank God. Last source I'm going to talk about. This article here that you're seeing isn't a scientific study. It might look like it because of the amount of what looks like extensive research that went into it based on its length, but it's, once again, an opinion piece. PragerU uses it like it's data, like it's actually relevant, even though it's one person's take. This would be the same thing to say, oh, this video game has completely fallen off on Reddit, and somebody making a video about why the game is no longer liked goes to my one Reddit comment about a game falling off and saying that that's concrete evidence. Just my opinion doesn't mean that the actual big idea is true. The article frames responsibility, accountability, and stuff like that as masculine traits, but those aren't exclusive to men. Once again, we have completely just thrown women to the side, and we are basically putting a blur between all the genders and saying that this applies to one, this applies to the other. The article doesn't even go into other perspectives. A good article would try and maybe make a counterpoint and explain, why it's wrong or why it can be viewed a different way, but this article stays in one certain tunnel viewpoint. This article doesn't even acknowledge research showing that certain gender roles can benefit men and women. So once again, this is a terrible source that they used to try and make a point that is basically this lady's opinion. YouTube's engagement bait is something that's getting worse and worse as time goes on. With YouTube's ad revenue structure, the urge for clicks, and the fact that it's so easy now to pull in clicks and get fame, easier than ever to be honest, just drives people to try and get as many clicks as they can to try and get to the top. Look at two of my videos, right? If you were to pick between these two videos, would you pick the one with the cars that are just racing on the track, or would you pick the one with the car that is completely crashed and is flying through the air right now? You'd probably pick the one with the car that just crashed because you know something's going to happen in that video. The thumbnail on the PragerU video isn't even what draws people in. It's the title. Make Men Masculine Again sounds like a revolution to get men to what they used to be when they fought in the wars. And it's what a lot of people online say that they miss about men. Probably the biggest hook was the fact that the first sentence was one of the most diabolical intros to a YouTube video I've ever seen, and it makes you want to stop and watch, because the second I heard that video, I knew I needed to do this. And once again, with a big title like this and a huge opening like this, people staying and listening to the arguments and possibly disagreeing with them, or sometimes known as rage bait content, It will also acknowledge that people will start commenting and leaving even more engagement, which will then get them pushed out into people's feeds even more. So the problem here is mainly that they're utilizing something that's very touchy, pushing their opinions on it, and trying to teach everybody about it, saying what we need to do about it, even though everything that they cited about how to do it is based on someone else's opinion, and one of them's even about the person in the video's opinion. Yeah, if that was your first experience with PragerU, I'm sorry. But you gotta feel bad for me. I did research on this shit. They're gonna be recommending PragerU to me for the next month and a half. I'm gonna have to sit there and see 5-minute shorts of PragerU on my recommended for the next month and a half. Send help. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this response to a very twisted YouTube video from a very twisted source. Reminder to please do your research if you see something that has facts in it. Please don't believe everything you see on the internet, especially lately with AI and all that stuff. And they have a kids channel. They have a kids channel. Anyway, I'm starting to get distracted. It's turning nighttime out. So thanks for watching. Remember, please do your own research if you're watching an informational YouTube video. If you're going to engage in engagement bait, please do it in a fun manner that's not like that and twisted like that. And if you're going to make any piece of informational work, cite sources that actually use evidence and use research instead of an opinion. Please, for the love of God, do that. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you around.